Wow, what a truly fantastic video that encapsulates the challenges that Everton faced and the amazing results that they actually achieved. But before we tell you why this was a true Apteco Fast Stats Award, let me just do some introductions. So unfortunately, Carl couldn't make the session today. We do have Mike, our data scientist from Everton Football Club, and myself, Paresh, who's the Director of Consulting Services at Qbase. So a little bit about background about who we are. So Qbase are a leading data analytics and infrastructure provider, and we provide these services to Everton Football Club. We are the top performing partner, and we've been with Apteco for 15 years. In terms of Everton, they were formed back in 1878. Their capacity, stadium capacity, is just over 39,000. And in about 4 years' time, they'll be moving into a bigger stadium with a lot more seasons ticket capacity. And through this analysis and insight that they've done, hopefully it will achieve a 100% record. So I'm now going to pass you over to Mike.
Thanks, Paresh. So just to give you the context about the challenge, we had to sell 31,300 season ticket seats, which was the maximum number that the Premier League would allow. So that was probably around 1,000 more than the previous season, and quite significantly about 9,000 more than what we had only about 5 years ago in 2012-13. So it gives you a bit of an idea of what the challenge looked like for Everton.
So in terms of how we actually made Fast Stats available for Everton, the diagram on your left-hand side shows you the data islands or the data sources coming into their CRM system called Salesforce. So we have ticketing sales. We also have information from turnstiles called Stadium Fortress. Qubase's role in this was to take the Salesforce CRM system and build a data layer from which we actually provided a Fast Stats system for Everton to do their analysis insight work. Our approach was twofold. Our first approach was to actually ensure that the data was accurate. So this involved not just having names and address information cleansed in a way that could be used, but also getting historic ticketing information structured and normalized in a way that analysis could be achieved. First iteration was to actually build a carbon copy of Salesforce to allow for ease of data auditing and QC processes. And then once that was achieved in terms of reconciliation, we then built or redesigned the system from a user's perspective. In other words, making sure that they actually hit the business needs required. Today, we have actually managed to get their Fast Stats build done within 45 minutes. So normally they say it's a game of two halves, but I've got to get it in. It's a game of one half.
Okay, so how did we do this? The big first part was retention, so getting as many of our current season ticket holders to retain as possible. So we needed to better understand them. So our first section that we looked at was creating season ticket purchase arrays for every individual in our system to see when they had held a season ticket all the way back to 2002-03 to give us a better idea of their purchasing behaviour.
And the second bit that Everton also did was actually they did an online survey where they managed to receive 3,000 questionnaires back from their supporters. And this was looking at the motivations for Everton supporters, from which they were actually able to do some segmentation analysis or discriminant analysis, which they then applied back within their Fast Stats system to the rest of the database, and effectively produced 5 different kind of personas based on attitudinal views.
We also looked at the age of season ticket holders because that had a really big impact on the likelihood for them to retain for next season. Particularly our younger fans seem to have a higher churn rate than our older traditional fans. We also looked at when people were actually purchasing their season ticket, because when we've seen people purchasing really late in the window, maybe after a new manager was appointed or new signings were made, their retention rate was a lot lower than when you've seen people who purchased a season ticket on the first day of the sales phase. We also looked at Drivetime, so we found that the retention rate reduces significantly the further away that the season ticket holder lived from Goodison Park. And we also analysed the seat dynamics around Goodison. So we essentially attached the risk score to every seat based on the number of season ticket holders that sat in that seat over the last 10 years to see are people sitting in riskier seats than others. So with all this information, we put together an overall risk score for each of our season ticket holders. So we looked at all of these information assets on the left. So how far does someone live away from Goodison? How long have they held a season ticket for when they purchased? What class they were they younger or older? Were they able to move to class? So they were seeing a big increase in price. And again, where they were sitting around the stadium. So that chart on the right just shows perfectly how our risk score that we developed correlated almost perfectly to the likelihood of our season ticket holders retaining for the next season. So we also used the segmentation and risk score as part of our marketing telephone campaigns to our high-risk supporters. We also done some marketing initiatives that produced unique personalised emails to the different groups. So our old traditional segment resonated more with the picture on your right there, which is Dixie Dean, say Ross Barkley, but our younger, more fanatical fans resonated more with the likes of Lukaku, Koeman, Tom Davies. So one of the major things that we implemented was a brand new ticket class, because what we've seen from our retention analysis is that a lot of our younger fans were churning out. And what we put it down to, certain price bands were just, when they were about to move to an adult class from youth class, we were seeing essentially like a £300 increase in what is essentially the same product. So we suggested using the insight, using Fast Act, that we introduced almost a stepping stone class. And what we did, we created a new class of young adults for supporters aged between 22 and 24, just to bridge that gap before they have to pay full adult price when they turn 25. So running parallel with our retention campaign, we wanted to build a pipeline of potential new season ticket holders for the 17-18 season. So we introduced a Salesforce form on the website and invited people to register their interest. We then took that information and we analysed and created a series of profiles and decision trees to see what type of fan was registering their interest. We took about 2,000 registrations, we've done those profiles, and then we went to like-minded fans who had yet to register. And when we actually closed the registered interest list, it was over 12,000 deep, which is really an excellent result for the club. So these are just some of the headline results of the season ticket campaign. I mean, 94% retention rate overall, which is a club record. We see in the value of email conversions go from £366,000 to just over £1 million. We almost double our email open and click rates. We see an 85% of high-risk fan reviews, which is a really excellent result for us. We also seen an increase of retention in younger fans, which links back to the new price band that we suggested the club should implement. And we also built that 12,000 deep pipeline of potential new season ticket holders for the 17-18 season.
So, final words from me really are the fact that Fast Stats is now really much the heart of the data-driven decision-making process within the club strategy, and it does actually underpin all the campaigns that they're running and all the analysis that they're running in terms of fan engagement. In terms of the future, our number one priority is actually looking at integrating some more data within our systems, and one of which is actually the mobile focus data, which allows people to actually scan their membership cards at different locations in and around the football stadium. So on the left here, you can see we've got Fan Zone, we've got the Everton One Club Store, and we've got the Players Parade. So the idea is that when there are games on, people will be scanned, and that information then gets fed into our FastStat system, so we can then start to look and see what kind of people are actually attending what parts of these shows, so we can then start to personalise some of the content around them. And the other aspect that we'll be looking to do in the future, as well as marketing automation and being able to send messages to individuals through beacon technologies. And finally, for me, is as you can see from the achievements that Everton have done, they've sold every season ticket this year, and that's all down to using the very basics of FastStats in terms of what it offers. Thank you very much for listening and seeing our presentation.